For this research, I worked with Jim Watkins and Ellen Olson to explore unique and interesting isotopic effects that are present in naturally occurring carbonate minerals. By isotopic effects, I am referring to how heavy and light isotopes partition themselves preferentially based on their conditions. For example, a lighter isotope of oxygen is more likely to evaporate into the air from water than is a heavier one. And for our research, lighter isotopes are more likely to be present in carbonate minerals that form without reaching equilibrium. The fraction that compares these differences between heavy and light isotopes is known as isotopic fractionation. The benefit of understanding isotopic fractionation is that it allows us to use samples found in nature to understand the climate conditions in which they have formed, possibly millions of years ago. Understanding oxygen isotopic fractionation can tell us about the sea temperatures of a prehistoric Earth, and understanding carbon isotopic fractionation can be used to determine atmospheric carbon dioxide levels throughout history. So, down here in the geologic background, for our research specifically, we are investigating unexpected isotopic fractionations present in carbonate formations known as travertines. There are unique conditions that allow for meteoric-fed spring pools to form a carbonate crust upon contact with the atmosphere. This phenomenon is occurring in a few different locations around the world, but within sample data collected from just one site in California, we are seeing an extreme level of isotopic variation. Even more perplexing, the data set created from these travertine pools creates an array of data with a 1-to-1 covariation of carbon to oxygen isotopic fractionation. We would expect variations in carbon and oxygen fractionations to not occur at such a 1-to-1 rate. So, with that in mind, there are many factors at play that we not fully understand. If we can completely understand these factors, then we can more precisely use isotopic fractionation as a tool for paleoclimate studies. So what did we actually do? To understand these factors, we simulated the conditions found in nature, but with the ability to control each variable independently. To mimic what is in nature, we must have high pH reactions to favor calcium carbonate growth. For the reaction, we placed a calcium solution in a sealed beaker contained within a water bath for controlling temperature. Then we flushed the headspace with nitrogen gas to eliminate any atmospheric carbon dioxide that could be present. Following that, the solution was brought to a high pH, at which point we administered carbon dioxide from a compressed tank. Lastly, we allowed the reaction to proceed and, depending on the chosen conditions, the experiment could run from 2 to 5 days. So what did we find from all this? Well, we analyzed the carbonate crust to understand the composition and the isotopic fractionations present in what we grew. So far, we have only been able to visually identify the crystals we grew and found that we have 3 main polymorphs of calcium carbonate present. Until we perform further crystal analyses, some of our findings remain uncertain. At this point, we have also only analyzed half of our experiments isotopically. So far, what we have found is promising, but also intriguing. Our first experiment actually yielded fractionations closest to that seen in nature. However, this experiment did not maintain a high pH over the course of the reaction and was thus no longer helpful for recreating the natural conditions. Through further interesting results, we have determined sufficient carbon dioxide flow to be an important factor in reproducing fractionations found in nature. We are hopeful that with changes made in latter experiments, we will have greater isotopic success. Lastly, down in carbon sequestration, we found that a potentially promising byproduct of this research is the implications it could have for carbon sequestration. As these carbonate minerals grow, we see that carbon dioxide is removed from the atmosphere. With the increasing demand of mitigating climate change, using carbonate growth in controlled environments could be a possible path to capturing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and storing it in stable minerals. Thank you.